This is Cheers Yo, episode number 10. Today we have Josh Coates on. Coates?
Yep.
Josh Coates on. And Josh is an artist, a painter, an illustrator, and just overall fucking incredible artist. If you don't follow him yet, check out his social media, mostly on Instagram from what I've seen.
Yeah, 100%. Say all on Instagram pretty much.
Yep, and it is at Coates Art. So see his last name, and then see it's right here on the bottom left, and then just art right afterwards. Yeah, if you guys have any trouble finding that, just let me know. I'll have a link down below in the YouTube VOD in the future. And so, yeah, yo, what's good, man? How's life?
How you doing? Pretty good, man. It's been pretty squirrely, to say the least. I'm sure it has been for everybody. Like I know for a fact I wouldn't even be out here in Oregon if it wasn't for this whole COVID thing. 'Cause I was in Denver for like a year before that, just chilling, just live painting and stuff, going to shows, and then COVID hit, everything shut down, and didn't really have much of a living situation lined up. And I also wasn't really feeling Denver, and this option to move out here with a good buddy kind of opened up, and here I am. Haven't really looked back once. I've been loving it.
Fuck yeah, yeah. I was gonna ask you how you've been liking living in Oregon so far.
Yeah, it's nice. It's a lot more it's a lot more dry than I thought it was going to be, at least down into the southern parts of Oregon.
No, it's super dry here. I don't know if you get any like eczema or anything, but I get such bad dry skin. It fucking sucks. Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%. I definitely I got like issues with my eyebrows. Honestly, get fucking dry as shit. It's weird.
It's fucking crazy, man. No, you wouldn't expect it, you know, and it doesn't seem like it. And then you're there for a month, and then you're like, oh fuck, yo, like I need to put lotion on my hands. I need to. Fucking,
oh, literally.
Like, what is this shit?
Yeah, I'm looking at my lips and I'm looking like SpongeBob with no water, like type shit. My lips like completely crusted to a smithereens. So.
Facts, yo. Well, I think I'm gonna get it started with a dab if you're feeling a nice rip here.
Oh, 100%, 100%.
What's good, Song? How you doing, dude? What you dabbing down on today?
So Bo's knows. My roommate actually works for him. He's like one of their like head processors. And yeah, no, he's always coming home with like some fresh press. Like, if I'm knocking on my door, like, hey, we got some fresh Talimon, like, we got some papaya punch. Like, I'm just like, oh, bet. Like, I'll take a break. I'll come take a dab.
That's lit. That's lit. And their stuff, you guys that aren't in Oregon, their stuff is pretty spendy. So, getting to dab it, straight up.
It is
awesome.
Nice. I am honestly, there's like, almost every day I'm like, god damn, I'm lucky as fuck. Like, he'll come in like a little dab fairy, like, hey, you ready to take a fatty? And I'm like, all right, I'll take a little break. Like, I honestly, I thoroughly enjoy painting while I'm like really stoned. Like, it's kind of like, I don't know. Ever since I started smoking weed, like fucking like 9 or 10 years ago, I would tell myself, like, if I'm gonna smoke weed, I'm like, I'm gonna use this for something. Like, and I would always like try and use it for like either like making art, or like I would use it to like go and like enjoy like skateboarding more or something. I would never like try to just sit around and like, I don't know, which is fine too. I do that. I definitely do that. But I try and use the like, I don't know, the positive and the more resourceful parts of cannabis, like, because it can be a really powerful tool. Like,
definitely, kind of like your own personal motivation. You're like, I'm gonna smoke and then I'm gonna make something dope.
Yeah, big facts. Or then I'll do that, and then I'll be like, oh shit, like if I get enough work done, or if I like get enough work done by this point, like I'll take a extra fat rip, like in fucking 3 hours or something. Like, I don't know, just stupid shit like that, but it works. So.
Definitely, yo. I mean, anything to keep you motivated, keep that grind on. That's what it's about.
Oh yeah, just keeps it enjoyable. I don't know, keeps things interesting. It's nice being a legal
state.
state.
Using the dab checker temp thing there.
Yeah, a little terpometer.
Yep. I've seen those before.
This little handheld guy's not too bad. It's pretty nice for the price.
Cheers, Joe.
Cheers. Woo.
Ooh.
Woo. Oh, wee.
Little nose burner there.
Whew.
Trips got me.
Oh yeah, mine was a little probably about 20 degrees too hot, but it'll do. Still didn't taste too bad.
It's really nice. Yeah. Oh yeah.
So what part of Oregon you in?
I'm in Central Oregon, yeah, in the Bend area.
Word. Okay. I've been up to Bend like once or twice with my roommate dropping off some hash and stuff.
Hell yeah.
It's gorgeous up there.
It's nice. It's nice. Good weather, except, I don't know, it's fucking cold. Recently, it's just been really cold with no snow, and I like the cold when it comes with the snow, but when it's just cold and no snow, that's fucking...
Yeah, it feels like you're getting gypped.
Yeah, exactly, bro. Exactly.
No, I feel that. But look, I mean, I'm at the base. I'm in Ashland right now, and I'm at the base of Mount Ashland, and it's like one of the better mountains to ride on for like probably like good like 60, 70 miles at least. I think Mount Shasta is like the nearest mountain besides Mount Ashland. That's
Definitely.
like,
You do any skiing, snowboarding?
So I've like snowboarded a couple times. I definitely am like a lot more comfortable on a skateboard, but I've never actually ridden on anything that's not ice. I've only ridden on the East Coast, and it's always been like worse conditions.
Yeah, yeah, and ice is super shitty unless you're like a really. I mean, I guess I don't know about snowboarding, but with skiing, like you can do ice if you're like you have really really sharp fucking skis, and it's like on certain runs, but it's just not. It's not enjoyable to ski on ice.
Sketchy.
It's just so sketchy, bro.
Oh yeah,
so sketchy. So is Ashland, you gonna go up this winter at all and fucking shred it?
I think so. I think
Nice.
I'm like I got a bunch of stuff to grind out currently, but once I get to do like this next few weeks of work, I'm hoping to have a little extra money to like put down on like a snowboard and get some gear because that shit's expensive along with the pass. But
well, dude, maybe somebody would be willing to trade you. Someone in Oregon that has some old gear. You should put it on your story, dude. Just that you're
true.
just
That's
put
a
it
good
out there.
idea.
You know? I mean, if that's something you're interested in, you know.
Yeah, no, 100%.
'Cause
I love heady trades are a life, 100%.
hell yeah, dude. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of people in Oregon that ski and snowboard that have many snowboard and like extra gear that they might be willing to trade for that, you know. So
No, that's a really good idea, 100%.
hell yeah. Is that a combo canvas in the background I see right there?
Oh yeah.
Nice.
I can grab it. I'm gonna take a collab. I'll talk about it for just a second before I grab it. But I met Calvin like last July. I want to say like July. In Asheville, actually on the East Coast. And he was at level 42. It's like a half gallery, half studio with like a fuck ton of artists. Like they might even have like 42 artists, honestly. I'm just kidding. But honestly, they have to have at least like over 20 artists, like off the
that work there, like actively.
Yeah, that work there. Yeah.
Wow,
It's
that must
really
be a
cool.
fat space.
It's a whole scene. Yeah, it's really pretty because like there's like a glass wall divide between the two sides, between the gallery on the left, like it's got all this exposed wood and stuff, and all this glass. It's got paintings, and then the right side's just like straight benches, and like there's one area that's like set up for like people to come in and teach. And I met Calvin after one of his classes that he was teaching. He was doing like a little like half show thing too, at the end of it. But he's really good with like spray painting and like really good with like hand control and stuff. And I suck.
I feel you. Spray painting's hard, dude. Putting down like straight flat colors is easy, but doing like shading and all that shit with cans.
Yeah, we're trying to do like a clean line, like just keep it steady and like I don't know. It's great. I didn't realize the tech at all. I didn't realize like there was just a whole world of tech until I touched it and was like, oh my god, like every angle you even spray it is like almost like a different type of tech even. Like, so he was like showing me some pointers and stuff. Like we kind of decided to just like throw down like a little collab. And my shit was super janky. And I was like planning on going back over it with like acrylic and stuff. And I've just honestly been intimidated. Because I really want to kill it. And I honestly wasn't even that comfortable with acrylic a year ago. And I'm like a million times more comfortable with acrylic paint at this point.
Yeah. So do you want to go over like a little bit of the timeline of how you kind of developed your art, like where you started and kind of what you started with and how you got into acrylic more so?
Yeah. You could totally do that. But yeah, no. Just to finish up the combo story, like I'm probably gonna be getting back on that like in the next month or so, just because I'm at a point where I'm like super confident and comfortable with acrylic. But But yeah,
You're
anyways,
gonna kill it. You're gonna kill it, dude. Fuck yeah, you got this.
but yeah, I could totally, I could totally give you like a little history, kind of, because I think about it all the time, because it was kind of, I've had a weird road as far as art goes. I feel like to an extent, um, but I've always made art, like ever since like I remember would sit there in kindergarten and like doodle penguins and puffins all day long. Literally, it was like the same thing over and over, same bird, like it was puffins. Honestly, it was like weirdly like it was like my thing. So I would do that for forever. I was like sketching during school was my thing, and then so like I would do that in elementary school, did it in middle school, got into high school, and like I wasn't even necessarily good. Like I never even felt like I was even really good at all at any point in high school, but I enjoyed it, and it was something I never even thought about. My whole life I've always been like, art's something I enjoy, like and I've literally never been like, oh, I'm good. Like I've never been like cocky with it or anything. I've always just literally enjoyed the process, and like it changed for me a bit in high school because I was able to take art classes. Like I had an art class like each year in high school. Um, First year was with like my JV soccer coach, and he was like a super like kind of technical teacher. He wasn't really open with the creative side more. He was like really like he was breaking down like perspective lines and stuff and how you see things, and was literally breaking down the math of how you like create like a realistic piece. And at the time, to me, I was like, oh, this is boring. I don't even want to pay attention to this. I just want to doodle. Um, and it's funny because I think back to what he taught me almost even more than like what my other art teacher taught me. Um, but anyways, I took him for granted at the time. Um, and then I met Mr. Gasper, who was he honestly he changed the game for real though for me. He was this super long hair, like black long hair, like down to his waist, like super fine, like thin ass hair, like super pale dude, like kind of tall and skinny. Um, Coolest motherfucker though. Like he was super into like Japanese art, like super into like Japanese like culture and stuff, and he was always giving us like really open projects that like he would give us like a decent like framework of what we had to do, but you could almost always mold it into something that you enjoyed, um, which was like the first time I like felt like I even like almost enjoyed something in school like that. So it was like that hit home. I started smoking weed like probably like my sophomore year of high school, and I'm not trying to sit here and like say I'm not trying to say this is a good thing or whatever, but I mean I would smoke the reefer, and I would usually have art in my first or second period on purpose so I could like have a little something in my system, toss, and he would always listen to music. So I'd be a little stoned, would listen to music, would always just like time would go by so fast. It would be an hour and a half long class. That class would always go by so fast because I would just be having fun the whole time. And I don't know, that was the first time I really met like a teacher that really let me do my own thing. And like at the beginning of each class, we could literally do like a free drawing of whatever we wanted. And it was around this time that I went from like doing pencil sketches and shit. It was probably like my sophomore, junior year that I discovered fine point Sharpie pens. And that was like the thing that it took art for me, which I already enjoyed, just kind of subtly. Like it was something I liked to do, but it wasn't something that was like, oh my fucking god, I wanted to keep doing this. But something about black line work, as soon as I touched it, it was like something fucking clicked, and I fell in love with it. And it was like, I don't know if it was like the instant contrast between the darks and the lights, like with ink work, because it's always you're gonna have the blackest blacks and you're always gonna have the lightest lights. And that was one thing my teacher, Mr. Gasper, taught me early on. He was like, yeah, you gotta have contrast. It's a huge thing. So that coupled with like the ink work and just having a super chill teacher for a few years, like literally had him for 3 years straight after that. So like sophomore year, junior year, senior year, me and Mr. Gasper are chilling. By the time I'm a senior, I literally could do whatever I wanted. Like it was like I can't remember what the name of the class was technically at this point. It was like
Independent
art for
studies or something
yeah,
like that.
yeah. It became like an independent study kind of thing. I literally could like he was like you could take for however long you want on these projects. So I literally was like diving in on shit that I wouldn't even usually do, and I was going like one piece I went like huge with, and like it was his idea because I was doing these like 9x12 like really detailed ink pieces. I started doing eyes a lot. And eyes were like the first thing that I took seriously in art. Like I always will say it. I always liked drawing eyes before like I took art like seriously. But when I started taking it seriously, eyes were the first thing that I was like, okay, I really love these, and I'm gonna try and take these to the next level. And that with like my ink work, I was like, okay, this is fun as shit. And I started doing these like huge eye pieces, and then it was his idea to like stack them, like do like a collage basically, and it was like four fat like eyepieces, like all like kind of like collage one on top of the other from like different angles. And that was like one of the projects where I really was like, wow, this is like fun as shit, and like I'm out here. Like I didn't even feel like I was even like good at this point. Still, like there was like I could count at least 5 kids in the class that I felt like were better than me, technically, like skilled. But I enjoyed it. Like that, I think it's the one thing that has kept me going this whole time is because I fucking love it more than anything. And yeah, no, I kept trucking along with the ink work, and this is where shit got interesting to me, because like shit almost got too easy for me. Honestly, it was weird. I started doing these ink pieces like all the time, and this is like I graduated high school at this point, and I sold my first piece around the time I graduated. It was like literally one of the last days of school. I sold my first piece. Her name's Kylie DePriest, and shout out her, because she was literally one of the first people that was like, oh my god, like I feel like I have like a chance to do this type shit. And so like I kept cranking out these ink pieces, and around probably 4 or 5 months after I graduated high school, I went straight into working for like this like logistics company in like a cubicle type shit. Like a pretty full-time job. Like it was like pretty stressful, but I stayed drawing the whole time as if it was fucking class or something. And like I always made sure I got my shit done, but I would always make sure I had extra time to draw and sketch. And at this point I was posting every day on Instagram, like for like over a year, sometimes even 2 times a day. Like I was posting like an ignorant amount. Like I couldn't even, it wasn't even sustainable, honestly, unless I kept doing ink pieces. And like I kept doing ink pieces for like 2 years. This is probably like around 2016, pushing 2017, where I started having this change where like I started looking in the future almost to an extent, and was like, okay, like this ink is fun, I love it, but I felt like I had hit this like almost wall where I didn't feel like I was pushing myself anymore. It almost got like kind of boring to me. It just wasn't as like engaging anymore. And then so I started using color and using like Copic markers and like color, just all kinds of colored markers and shit. And that was fun. I did that for probably like a year and a half ish. And like all at this time, like I had built a following off of my black ink work. And as I started to deviate from what I had built my following off of, like I went from like gaining like 20,000 followers in like a year and a half, like 2 years, to just like pausing. I paused at like 25 or 26 or some shit like that. And it's still, I look back on it, I don't even care, because I'm stoked to be where I'm at. But here, I'll gotta get there. So I gotta zoom back. So I started using the Copic markers and shit, and that was great for a little bit. Like, I'll be honest, it was cool, but it's still like, it didn't feel, it just didn't feel as fulfilling. It didn't feel like it was what I wanted. I don't know how to explain it. So like,
I know what you're saying.
Yeah. It was
The
just
markers, they don't do it like paint does, dude. It's just I have markers sitting right here, and I use them every once in a while, but it's like paint's just a whole different feel. You know, you're really like you're putting something concrete, like a 3-dimensional, on the canvas. You know.
Yeah, it feels a lot more sculpty. Like I think I'm actually I always say like acrylic feels like I'm sculpting. Honestly, it's funny.
Have you worked with clay?
I have a little bit, but like I haven't worked with clay since I've had like much better understanding of just like dimension and like shape in general, honestly. So like I think it would be great to get back into it. But yeah, no, I haven't touched it in a minute. I actually, the one art class I liked when I went, because I went to art school for like 2 years at this little college. I dropped out pretty quickly, but the one like art class that I loved was my like 3D art class, and like we did a lot of sculpting, all kinds of shit in there. Honestly, that was like really fun. Like,
definitely. Okay, so go back and finish your story, because I totally interrupted you. I'm really sorry.
Oh, you're fine. I'd love a random tangent.
I want to, after your story, I want to tell you a little bit about polymer clay, which I recently got some of that I think you might have fun with.
Word, fuck yeah.
But finish what you're going on here with how you got into acrylics, because we were close.
Yeah, no, I got you. So there was a pivotal piece for me. So I started using watercolor as well. around this time I was using markers. Like I kind of branched into watercolor after the Copic markers, and they were cool, but it was still like I kept hitting this dilemma where like the watercolors weren't predictable. You couldn't layer them, so that was an issue. They made half the ink that I would use bleed, so that was annoying. But the thing that like really made me want to like change the game was that I wanted to start going bigger. And like the more I wanted to go larger, the more I was looking at these markers and this watercolor and shit and was like, this isn't gonna do it. Like, and so I was like, the piece that actually changed the game was actually, hold on, let me grab a print because I have a print of it.
Definitely, hell yeah. This is awesome, yo.
All right. So the piece that changed the game for me was this commission from a good buddy of mine, Elijah, and the piece is called Shambhala.
I remember this piece. I remember
Yeah, this one was like the game changer for me because it was 2 by 4 feet, which is like literally it's like as big as that tiger canvas, but just like a tad shorter. It's probably like a foot shorter than that, maybe
It's fat,
6 inches shorter.
It's a big piece.
Yeah, it was huge, especially because it was all watercolor and ink. And my buddy came with me. He came to me with the idea to like, he basically was like, I want you to combine like basically everything I do. That's basically what he said to an extent, like in one piece. He was like, I want you to take like all the characters you do, which at that time I was doing a lot of those kind of like nature people. And I was also doing like, and I still do them a lot, like these kind of like naturey, like mushroom kind of people. Like there's like one in like that piece right there, and then I'm also working on another one of those kind of like space deity type people that I do. But I combined the two in this piece, and it was monumental for me because the first piece I started, I worked on it for like 6 months, and I had gone so back and forth on so many things on it, and it was so large, and so like I had basically realized at this point, I was like, okay, my process is like not going to work upscaling it. Like I can't just literally be like, okay, I'm just going to do this larger scale with watercolor and pencil and scale, because it just didn't work like it did on paper at all. Even just sketching, it didn't work. I couldn't even like erase half the lead. It became a smudgy graphite mess, and I knew I couldn't cover it with watercolor, so I was digging myself in this hole, and I had this breaking point literally with that piece where I'll never forget it. I was sitting downstairs in like the basement of this little rinky-dink studio I had, this old place I lived at. And I just remember sitting there and just being like, damn, like just totally feeling like, damn, I'm not gonna, like, I can't cut it. Like, I'm not gonna be able to do it. Like, this piece isn't like, it's not gonna work out. And it was a catalyst for me because at that point I lost it like emotionally. It was just like, like fuck this. I think I don't know if I like hit it or if like my like knee just like caught it or something. I ended up a hole ended up in it. And I'm like literally sitting there like fucking just like so upset and just like looking at it like, oh my God, like and it was me just being upset with myself, really, like, and feeling like I wasn't able to accomplish what I wanted to accomplish. And so I went back to the drawing board, and like I didn't change up my medium then, but I instantly was like, okay, like I'm going to swap to acrylic after this. Like I literally told myself, I was like, I'm never touching watercolor again after this. Literally, like it was like an oath to myself.
And
like,
have
straight
you?
up. I haven't touched it since. Yeah, straight up. I've touched like acrylic ink, which is like similar to watercolor, but it's fucking amazing because you can layer with it, so it's really nice. But yeah, I ended up spending a year on the second piece, type shit. And it's like one of those situations where like I knew, like I've had so many pieces that end up like something will happen, I have to end up scratching it or have to end up restarting. And the second piece always turns out better. I've never had a second piece turn out worse than the first one ever. So that's always the bright side. Anytime something goes wrong, I'm like, hey, well, that's okay. I'll just do it again. It'll turn out better.
Definitely.
So I did that, and I crushed it. I crushed it for the watercolor, as far as it goes. Also, funny side story. Elijah doesn't even know this. He owns the canvas. I don't think I've told him this yet. I might have. It's just hysterical. When I was so close to finishing that piece, that Shambhala piece, it was out in my buddy's glass studio, out in the backyard, and I had it chilling on this table that was the same size as the canvas, just posted up. So I had nowhere really like to put it away at. I couldn't like, I don't know. I left it there while I was going inside real quick and totally thought to myself like, it'll be fine, like it'll be Gucci. And then like as I was walking out, like a bird flew into the garage, and I was like, okay, like I'm fine. Like he'll come out. So like I'm sitting there, like I waited for him for like half a second. I was like, whatever, he'll be Gucci. And he literally was flying around hauling ass. I was like, he'll find his way out. I come back 5 minutes later. The bird's gone. I don't even think anything of it. And then I look at my canvas, and the bird had shit on the canvas. And I kid you not, the shit, literally, you can't. It ended up working out on some Destiny shit, mind you. Like, the shit landed on the edge of this tree right here. I kid you not. A millimeter to the right, it would have been on the sunset, and it would have been like doo-doo brown on the sunset.
Oh my god, that's crazy, yo.
So
What?
I instantly was like, cleaned it up. Like, it ended up working out because like I cleaned it as much as I could because canvas is like, it's canvas. So like you can scrub into it. And so I did. And by the time I did that and then like reworked over it, it was completely gone. Like even like when I cleaned it the first time, it was like the same shade and everything. I was like, I about shed a tear. It was it was
Yo,
like the biggest.
that's absolutely insane. That's so lucky that it all came out. I think that
Oh, seriously.
maybe if you would have gone for a little bit longer before you came back, you might have been fucked. So it was lucky.
Might have been fucked.
Yeah, that's crazy. Right when the piece was almost done too.
Yeah, swear I at that point spent like 10 months on it, like 11 months on it. Not even bullshit.
Oh,
so like
dude.
I would have shed fat tears. I'm fairly
Oh.
certain I shed a tear for how thankful I was. So
Holy shit, man.
that worked out in the end. It was a dodged bullet. If you're watching this, Elijah, I'm sorry.
It's a ppm type thing. It's a
out.
ppm, parts per million. There's very low parts per million on that canvas. Don't even worry about it, you know?
100%. So then, yeah, immediately after that, that was like 2018. I finished this piece like towards the beginning of 2018, and then I started using acrylic immediately after that. It was trash with acrylic, like so bad. Like it was completely against everything I'd ever done. Like watercolor was so loose and flowy. Like ink, you throw it down one time and you're there. But acrylic, it was this whole mindset of building layers, and like I thought I had to like change my style to fit acrylic for so long. Up until even like 6 months ago, I thought I literally had to like be a certain way to use acrylic. But then I started approaching it with a much looser mindset. I started approaching it literally just like how I wanted to. Like, and that was just like I started using a lot more water, honestly, because like acrylic, it's really dynamic. There's all different kinds of styles you can use. It's all different kinds of ways you can layer things, build things up. Like there's like 10 different ways I can think of, like off the top of my head. It's just ridiculous. Like, but what I like to do is just use a bunch of wet ass acrylic paint, like, and then go in like super loose and like almost like watercolor. It literally feels like almost like giant watercolor to an extent. But then you can easily go right back in like 10 minutes later and start building up over it. And it's like, I changed it into like a way, I don't know. I changed my way of working with it to like suit how I like to make art. I don't know. I just, for some reason with acrylic, totally thought it had to be a specific way forever. Like, and then I don't know what even really caused the change in the thought process. But one day I feel like I just started approaching it much looser, and it was like I wonder what the piece was, honestly, because I feel like I could almost like think of it, but yeah, no, I swear. And also Bob Ross shit. I think Bob Ross might be literally one of the things that might have got me out of my funk, because he's his way of creating art is the funnest way of creating art. Like he's so laid back.
100%, yo, it's crazy just watching his videos. I haven't actually worked with oil. Have you worked with oil paints before?
Haven't touched it. It's one of those things I've kind of like left alone.
Yeah, me too, dude. I don't know. Like I have seen so many videos of people working with them, and I've never touched them myself. And I feel like if I did fuck with oil paints, I think I would just make a huge mess.
No, I feel you.
Because of how slowly they dry, I would mess things up all the time, and I think I would just get paint everywhere. I'm pretty sure that's what I would do. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, no, that's how I feel every time I think about it. We have like 3 animals. We got 2 dogs and a cat here at the house. So like, the hair situation's pretty wild. So like, that's the thing for me. I'm like imagining all this hair and some oil paint. Because it already gets on my acrylic.
There's no fucking way. I mean, hairs, yeah, they get in paintings enough, you know, where you have to fucking pull them out. But
Mhm.
In oil where it's constantly wet like that, that's just constantly just like Velcro for hairs to just.
Yeah, like I'd be so upset if I had done something that I was like so excited about, and then like I don't know, I feel like it was just so easily could be ruined. I don't know, the oil, anything could happen.
100%, 100%.
Like
No, I agree with you. I
could
agree.
drip
I don't think it's
here,
worth.
like
I don't know. I guess some people do it. Some people do it and they just fucking bust out a whole piece at once. You know, like Bob Ross, where he just fucking does it. And then I guess at that rate, you know, if you're able to bust out a whole piece in one session and then go and leave it somewhere, you can have a room or, you know, a part of a room that's like tarped off so it doesn't get dust or whatever. That would make sense. But
yeah.
dude, working like that's a whole different mentality.
Yeah, he honestly works like with oil, like unlike almost like anyone I've ever seen. Honestly, he's like, just like really loose with it, and like really like he uses a lot of water with oil. Honestly, it's kind of wild. It's kind of wild. Like even like some of the it's inspiring too, though. I mean, like some of the level of detail that he can get while it's still wet. It's impressive.
Yeah, it's really cool seeing what you've been doing recently with a lot of the kind of like watercolor-esque looking backgrounds with just acrylic, you know?
I
think that's,
appreciate it.
yeah, it's a cool way of branching your old style with bringing in acrylic, which is a more like, you know, just kind of it's broad spectrum, even though it's much harder to work with. I
Yeah.
think that it's very obvious that you're getting the skills to where like you are working with it on the level that you want to, which it shows.
I
So.
appreciate that. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
word for word, dude. Like exactly what you just said. Almost like feel really creeped out because almost like I like mentioned that to you or something, or like said that to you over messages, like over DM or something. But yeah, nah, that's literally how I feel, like word for word. I'm finally feeling like I'm at this point where like I'm creating what I actually want to create for the first time, like in like 5-6 years of like doing this shit seriously.
Yeah,
Like
well, I speak on everybody else that sees your artwork. We all love seeing it, dude. You've been fucking killing it,
I
100%.
appreciate
Yeah,
that.
100%. Let's well, I'm gonna take another dab. I'm not trying to pressure
Oh,
you, but if
hey,
you're feeling another dab,
I'm about it. I'm about it.
about it.
100%.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, no, that's funny you say that because I literally also feel like on the other note, like I feel like I've combined almost all of my style. It feels like it's like been a culmination of all my different styles in the past, and the things that I like to do are coming together for the first time ever, and I'm actually able to render them in a way that I want. And it's like it makes me want to shed a tear. I did shed it. I was driving down to LA actually like a week or two ago, and I literally was like, I literally did I shed a tear. Was like, wow, like it just feels nice because like it's been so long that I've like as an artist, it's one of those things like where you just like you're constantly trying to feel like you're trying to find your style, like trying to find your place in this like weird art world, this weird even fucking world that we live in to an extent. Like so
100%.
it's been an exciting thing. I've like finally am just like wow, like I feel like I'm getting to the point where I'm like even more excited about this shit than I thought I even could be. Like and I'm actually like feeling like I'm looking back, I'm like wow, I've fucking made this progress. Like I'm actually out here. Like it feels good. Like
Definitely. It's crazy. I mean, and you can just see the progress that you've made. You know, I mean, I still remember I sent you a picture the other day of some of the OG illustrations. Like not
oh yeah,
not your like very very OG ones, you know, but like from when you started.
they were still
using...
pretty damn OG though. Honestly,
yeah,
it was like 2015, 2016 type shit.
Yeah, and you know, I'll have those. I'll pull them out every once in a while and send you pictures and reminders. You know, because I know it feels good seeing your old artwork. Yo, anybody that has old artwork from Josh or anything, send him pictures and shit. Because it's the nostalgia of seeing pieces that you haven't seen in years and just being reminded of the experience of creation that really just like it feels good. It feels good no matter which piece it is. It always does.
100%. Like I've like there's so many times where like a homie will be like shouting out a piece and I'm like, God, like they'll be describing it to me. I'm like, that could be like 5 different pieces. Honestly, like I'm like, God, I can't remember that specific one because I've like made honestly like there's been like I've probably made like 50 lion pieces. I've probably made like 30 tiger pieces, like 20 fucking elephant pieces. Like there's like a bunch of different like things that I always come back to, like so. It's always that's why I always do love to see pictures because it's like, oh my god, like I forgot this even existed half the time. Like it's dope. Yeah, we'll have to sesh sometime though, man. I'll have to bring some like post nose up.
Oh yeah, definitely, dude. That'd be super lit. May have to come down there and shred the mountain. I don't know their situation is, I was gonna get a pass at Bachelor here, but
Mhm.
the parking situation this year with COVID, you have to reserve your parking spot like weeks in advance or something like that. It's like,
That's
bro,
trash.
how you live if you live near a mountain and you have a season pass? That's not how you ski. You wake up and you're like, it's good conditions. I'm gonna go skiing today.
Literally, yeah. No, I feel you.
So I'm not gonna pay $800 for a season pass to have to reserve my parking spots anytime I want to. I don't know. It's just
Guys, is it 800 for Mount Bachelor?
maybe even more, dude. It might be like
No
almost 1,000.
way. Oh my
They're
lord.
crazy, dude.
It is like 600 or something like that for Mount Ashland. We just got like 9 inches or so up there.
Ooh.
It's trippy because like I'm literally like I'm like at the base of it. I'm like a half mile like from like the flipping peak, and it'll dump snow up there, but like we'll be Gucci down here most of the time. It's weird.
So weird.
It's nice,
Ooh,
honestly.
That was a tasty dab right there.
Oh yeah, mine was at the perfect temp.
I might have to send it on another one. The double dab. Double dabroni. That was some fat clouds right there. What strain was that one? Same one?
I think it was like animal cookies or something like that.
Oh, okay. I wonder, they have the same processing studio like area as Anthology, right?
They just actually moved. They just actually moved out.
Oh, okay.
Recently up to like Grants Pass. Have you heard of Grants Pass?
Okay, definitely. Yeah, whole different town, eh?
Yeah, I'm about to actually be moving up there. I think.
Nice.
Whew.
Nice. It's not too far though, right? It's all Southern Oregon.
Yeah, it's like 45 minutes.
Definitely.
It's not like the worst thing ever, but oh my lord.
Grants Pass is where everybody grows weed. Everybody in Oregon grows in Grants Pass.
That's hilarious. Yeah,
Perfect place to grow weed, honestly.
I'm honestly trying to grow some weed as soon as I get there.
Yeah, dude, I need to get a fucking house that I can grow some weed in too, dude.
Yeah, me and my buddy Blake said, you're like, dude, fuck, like, we are so growing next year.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
no ifs, ands, or
you
buts.
smoke so much weed, it's like, why am I paying for all this weed when I can just grow my own weed
exactly.
all for free? So then you can grow your own strains. You can pick which strains you're gonna smoke.
Oh, yeah.
And grow them the whole time. That's fun. Good process, but fun.
Yeah, it still doesn't even feel like it's like should be allowed, but it is. Like, I think one of those things I'm still like getting used to living in like a legal state. It's so lit.
100%. Oh yeah. I mean, how has that transition been for you? Just smoking a lot more weed, feeling a lot less paranoid about it.
Oh yeah, no, it's been the best shit ever. I mean, like I think about it all the time because like East Coast was like, it's great. Like I was able to get like really fucking good hash out there. I was able to get like pretty good weed out there. The weed honestly got really bunk honestly for a while before I moved, but yeah, I don't know. It's just like I don't have to worry about someone kicking down my door or anything just for smoking, like, or like worry about like being at a friend's house and having the door kicked down just for like a few grams of hash. Like, so it's nice that I can like live a lifestyle that I would like to live. They could not be like looking over my shoulder and be sketched out. Like it's nice.
100%.
Like,
definitely. Okay, I got a question from Instagram earlier here. Someone was curious, what was the most challenging piece for you that you've ever done?
God, it's probably almost got to be. It's probably got to be that Shambhala piece. But to be honest with you, my first acrylic piece was like probably. It was really challenging too. That's such a funny story because like I literally right after I finished Shambhala, there was a homie of a homie out in Colorado that wanted a canvas, and I was like, okay, I'm about to start using acrylic, and I totally was like, I was way overconfident. Like, I was like, yeah, I could come out there and crank out a canvas, dude, like in a week or two, like, and I had all like sketched out, and like I had done like the slightest bit of like prep work on it, like, but I was so wrongly in the mindset but I was so in the mindset of like, wow, I'm gonna crush this shit out in like a week or two at most. And like my buddy Ian actually had this glass class, want to make a heady. He was going to take that want to make a heady like glass camp giant. Um and so I dropped him off there and he was gonna be there for like a week, I believe, like a week and like maybe like a couple days or something. Um so I dropped him off and I go over to like the homie's house. And he lives with like one of my good friends. So like we were chilling. Like I knew I was gonna be out there for like probably a week and a half, like maybe 2 weeks. But it quickly it quickly became like 2 weeks in, like real quick. And I'm like sitting there and I'm like working like all day. It's hot as shit. Like Denver is so. It was like in the middle of summer. It's like fucking June or July. And it's like a smooth 100 degrees like every day, and I'm just like sitting there trying to work this acrylic. And at the time, I would use like no water with my acrylic, like at all. I can't like. I even had someone tell me they were like, "Hey, you should use more water," and I was like, "Okay, like word, like I'll try and get right." But I like used ever so slightly like, a little bit more water, and I still just was like, I feel like I have to like do it like this for some reason, and I just kept I kept screwing up on this piece for so long, honestly. Like was so overconfident with it. I couldn't get like any blends. It was so hard to get like a clean blend of color at first because I was hardly even using any water first of all. So it was just like me using dry like clay basically, like
Yeah, and just
scraping it.
fucking thwapping it on there, just caking on layers.
Thwapping big facts. Oh my
Like, why
god.
is this not changing color?
Literally. So and I still like it ended up being a fire piece, but it took me forever. And like if I screwed anything up, it would take me even longer to fix it. It was like literally one of those things where it was like one step forward and two steps back, like for weeks. And like I God, I just remember there being a point where I was just like wanted to give up. I was just like, oh my god, like this shit is like
Oh.
but I just did myself so dirty because even the background was this like fat sunset fade. It went from like I wish I had a print of that piece. Because the background I did myself so dirty because it was literally like a full yellow to orange to red to purple to black, like full fade. And I was like being so anal about it. I was like being so like it has to be perfect. Like it ended up being like pretty damn good, but it ended up taking me like fucking like 3 weeks. And they were really chill. Like they weren't even there most of the time. I mean, my buddy Mario and my buddy Ian, like we were all having a good ass time, honestly. Like Hunter, it was low key like a montage. Like when I wasn't working all day, like but anyways, I finally finished it like 3 weeks into it. I'm like, I almost wanted to shed a tear by the time I was done. I was like, yo, I'm sorry. Like, turned to my buddy Ian. I'm like, yo, I'm sorry. We were out here for so long. Like, oh man, it was like, felt like such a, felt like such a fold of a situation. But it was like one of those times where I was like, I really got to go back to the drawing board type shit. Like, I totally underestimated acrylic. Like, was way too cocky with it. And it humbled me real quick. Like, so fast. Like,
It's definitely not as easy as picking up a pen.
No.
That's for sure. Just like glass. Glass is really fucking hard. Have you messed with glass at all?
Yeah, I've diddled around, I've messed with it. I've like it I don't know. I would love to get back into like doing like etching work on the glass. Would be really cool.
Oh yeah,
Um
dude. There's some crazy fucking etching work, and it's just like scraping a TI pen onto glass. You know.
yeah, there's like that, and there's also like some people use like a really like fine tip Fordham that's like
Dremel
not very
almost.
shaky, yeah, like a Dremel. Um but the first one I ever used, like I've only done it once where I've like dribbled on the glass. But the Dremel was oh, excuse me. That Baja Blast is fighting me. This Dremel was literally the shakiest thing of all time that I used. So like my first thing I ever did like didn't really turn out like the best, but it's definitely something I would want to do again. Um,
I remember you made a tube with that one
yeah, Electro
homie
B.
that had the meditating space, the space deity on it,
Yeah, I did
right?
do him too. Yeah, I forgot I did do like another
That
tube with
that piece turned
him.
out fire, dude.
I appreciate it. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
It
dude. I remember that.
they didn't turn out as clean. It definitely didn't turn out as clean as I wanted, but that's the way she goes. It's something I want to get back into. I would need to just like invest in a much finer Dremel, or I did
some way to do it. Ask. There's what's that guy? Is it Steve Bishop maybe?
He like tattoos and he like
that guy. You should figure out what he uses because he's whatever he uses. I feel like is probably super spicy for doing that. Cause
super spicy.
Yeah, dude. The way that, I don't know, his shit it looks like a tattoo on the fucking glass, bro.
I was about to say too. I think I'm about to get a tattoo machine like soon.
Ooh, that'll be fun. That'll be fun. Have you researched a little bit into, like doing tattoo style of like image building compared to normal illustration or whatever?
I don't even really know. I just I watched the way this guy was like building layers on my arm, and I was like, it kind of reminded me of like acrylic to an extent. And then like the way he was doing like the line work, and I was like, damn, this is almost literally like, it almost felt like it was like using acrylic paint and fine point ink is what it looked like. I don't want to assume, but
definitely.
The way
I mean, you got people try on what watermelons is it, right? People tattoo
oranges and shit. Yeah,
oranges, right? Try it out, man. See how it goes. I mean, as far as like investments, tattoo machines aren't the most expensive thing you can invest in, you know.
Dude, my so I went down to LA for a tattoo from this South Korean artist named Moon Cheon. And I was staying with another tattoo artist actually who happened to be from North Carolina. That he's good friends with like some people I know, and his work's super clean. And I was trying to find somewhere to stay. I had a good buddy that was actually out of town in LA, and this homie, this online homie, like a tattoo artist buddy, he hit me up and was like, "Hey, you can stay with me." And one of his favorite gun was like a $15 gun from like Amazon. I put like a $20 gun from like Amazon, like. Straight up, yeah. And he had all these like other ones that were expensive, and he was like, "This is the one." It was dumb quiet, and like he was doing some crazy fine line work. I was like, "Bet," like, so
crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, compare that to like a fucking torch, you know?
Yeah.
That's nuts.
You can spin a stack for a tattoo machine though. There's a guy named Destroy Troy, in Ashland actually. He just moved here recently, but he's really well known for making like some of like the nicest tattoo machines. Like they're super expensive and they're like super beefy, but I need something small.
Yeah, get that fine detail, you know.
Yeah, like I would want something like much bigger than something like this. If I cut it in half, like this termometer.
Yeah.
Because if it's too heavy, it would just be.
It would feel clunky, you know.
Yeah.
Yo, I'm excited to see what you do, yo. Fuck yeah. Scoop one. Do it. Send it.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
What you been whipping up?
Honestly, I haven't been doing too much art recently, but this is actually a good segue. I have been messing around a little bit with polymer clay and kind of just like
that's a good segue
with that. But like this is something that just like was one of the very first things that I did with polymer clay, just kind of fucking around with the different colors and shit.
Oh hell yeah!
Just making like just making little shapes with it and shit.
Yeah, no, that's dope. That's clean. What do you have to do to set it? You just like do you bake it or do you
bake it? So what's crazy? Polymer clay is it's fucking like it's plastic, right? And so when it's in its form before you bake it, it's just like. It's a really malleable type of clay, but once you bake it, it's fucking hard plastic. Like, I can flick this, and I didn't put any, like, some people say you need to put, like, binding in between it, like, the certain type of glue. I didn't put any glue. I was doing this as a test to see how strong it was, you know? I can fucking flick each of these, you know what I'm saying? They're not fucking... And that's with no glue. I just pushed each of them together individually, you know?
That's
the one thing that sucks about polymer clay is before it's baked, the pigment is so heavily concentrated in the clay that between handling each different cube, you really have to like take a baby wipe and you wipe your fingers off to get the extra pigment off, or else when you go to like handle like the yellow, you're gonna get a giant fingerprint of purple on that bitch. You know?
Okay, bad.
From the yellow to the purple, and you'll get a discoloration and all this shit.
Yeah.
So the cross contamination is something that makes it slightly annoying to deal with.
Yeah, that'd be challenging.
But you can make some crazy things, and because it's just highly pigmented plastic, they have colors that are so super concentrated in pigment. Like these are, just so bold colors, and then there's all colors in between, and shit, and you can mix colors and all that to make new colors. So it's kind of fun. I'm kind of, I guess I want to work more with it, but because of how annoying it is to deal with, I've kind of been pretty slow about working on it. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, the cross color contamination would be like mildly annoying. Would that be something that I feel like
Super annoying.
you would almost like learn like subconsciously though to avoid over time? It would be like something that you would like.
Definitely. I think that what'll happen is I'll build components to pieces, and I'll kind of build I'll be like, okay, this is how I'll try to envision a full piece, and then be like, okay, I'll need these components out of yellow, and then I'll build all those, and then be like this out of this, and then I'll build everything together.
I feel that.
Kind of as you would do a glass piece or something like that. You know, that when I started working with glass, it completely changed my perspective of how I built things. I went from just doing paintings and just pen on paper to working with something 3D, to where like when I can't really just go off of it. I have to really envision the whole thing and break it down into elements and 3-dimensional elements. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, it is one of those things where you do have to be thinking about like every aspect of it while you're doing it. Type
100%.
shit. And it's all super abstract, especially at first. Glass is like just one of those things you're literally like blowing a glass bubble type shit, like trying to like I don't know. I've had a little bit of experience of like trying to like work. I tried to do like line work on glass. Like that's like one thing that I think could be like fun
Like
too.
disc flips and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. How did that go?
Yeah. Pretty good. I mean, I could like lay a decent line. I just never really gave it enough time. Honestly, I would only do it. I would do it like late night. Like, I'd be like sauced, and the homie would be like, "Yo, like come get right." Like, and I'd be like, "Bet." Like, we'll see what's up. And then I would like sometimes like it would turn out kind of cool or kind of fun. Like, and sometimes it would just be trash. But so.
Yo, that's hard. Doing disc flips is really hard. Keeping the heat base in the disc flip without exploding it is so fucking hard, dude. I've done two or three, and only one of them survived. I'm very good at blowing up disc flips, very bad at actually making them. And so I have one that's just sitting in a tube somewhere that I never actually like made it into a pendant because I was too scared. I was like, I'm just gonna leave this in the tube for now.
No, I feel you. I mean, all I could do was try and do like some line work. I couldn't like disconnect it. I couldn't do like anything. Like really besides just like fucking around with like trying to lay some lines, which honestly is really satisfying though. Like can't front.
Oh yeah, dude. Well, maybe one day you'll have a place where you can set up a torch too. Get that right.
That'd be dope.
It's fun to mess around with, Really
100%.
It's enjoyable. I got another question for you here. Hold on one sec. Oh yeah. Ha ha ha. Okay, this is from Soldier Boz on Instagram, and he says, Shambhala seems to run in a series and almost a storyline. Was this intentional?
I'm dead. My man should know the answer to that. I'm dead. That's a good question, though. That's a good question, Sam. Yeah. So Shambhala is like a bit of a storyline. So like, I've got. So this I pulled a Star Wars on him, and Shambhala is like I started in the end and then I went back to the beginning. But so with Shambhala, I wasn't even playing on this initially, but this piece, I wish I had the other one. Honestly, it would be so much easier to explain this because it would be a lot better to start at the beginning. But I ended up doing a second piece afterwards, where these people right here, like the space, kind of like these space deities, they are basically kind of like pulling up, like they're kind of like arriving for the first time on like this this home planet species, like these like forest people, and it's like in the very first one. Oh my god, why do I have an alarm? On the very first one, this character right here, instead of breaking apart and like going away, he's coming together and like stepping down for the first time, like on the forest side. So on the other piece, it's basically almost like a mirror of this to an extent, but not really. But it's like the same forest people on this side, and then it's also got this. It's on the opposite side, it has the space people stepping in with like the pyramids and stuff in the background. but it's basically kind of supposed to like represent this like weird little story I guess I cooked up, where this other dimensional like species or whatever is making contact obviously with this planet, and then in Shambhala I'm trying to almost like illustrate this like coming together of the two, and then like they reach this like almost like ascension point where like they've like taught them what they need to teach them, and like they've done what they need to done, I guess, to a certain extent, and then he breaks off, kind of transcends back to whatever dimension or whatever he needs to do next, type shit. But what inspired that was the name of this piece, which is Shambhala, which is like a Sanskrit term for like a like it's basically, it almost like it means nirvana to an extent, like it's a place of peace and paradise. And I was listening actually to this Tipper track, that was from this festival called Shambhala, um, and it was like an hour and a half long like mix that he had played there. And it was like from like 2015 or something, I want to say. Um, but I would listen to that like religiously, like while I was cooking up Shambhala.
Yeah.
And towards the end of it, I like didn't quite have a name for this piece. And usually with my art, I'll usually the name will just kind of arrive, like it'll just pop up, and I'm just like, boom, that's it. Like I'm ready. Sometimes the name will even pop up before I make the piece, like straight up. Sometimes like a specific word will like jog like a piece like in my head, like it'll just pop up. I'm like, oh, that's that. But I was having a problem naming this piece, and it was weird to me. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna look up this this mix that I've been listening. Because I was like, what the fuck is Shambhala even? Like I've been listening to it so much, and it was literally the vibe. Like that song. Anytime I listen to it, it literally brings me into that piece, like on my life. Like literally makes me feel like I'm in that piece. Um, and it really encompassed the feeling I was going for. So it worked out perfectly when I looked it up and I realized it was like a really like a serendipitous moment because I had finished the piece at this point. I literally was like doing like the final fade on the background, and when I realized what Shambhala meant, I literally like shed tears and was like, no fucking way. Like it literally meant reaching this like stage of nirvana. And I literally didn't even have like this storyline even in my head really at this point. But like when I looked at the piece, when I looked back at it, I was like, oh my God, like I feel it and I see it, like holy shit, like and like the that feeling of like reaching that ultimate point of like peace and being like and like letting go was literally like the feeling that like I wanted to encompass like so hard with this whole like kind of like side of the piece. It was kind of like the focal point of it. So once I found out that was what that meant, I was like, holy fuck, like no way, like that's insane. And instantly knew that was gonna be the name for this piece.
It's the
And so
perfect name for it. Seriously, the
I
perfect
appreciate
name for it. Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah, it worked out weirdly. It worked out so great. But and so I went back and did the one before that, um, because I just felt like I wasn't done there yet. Like I just kind of wanted to like revisit like this kind of like concept and this kind of piece. Um, and then as soon as I started, I was like, oh my God, this is like, I was like, I had the ending on that one, but I was like, this could be like, I literally like, I came up with the name with it like instantly, and it was like The Road to Shambhala, was the one that ended up becoming the prequel. So I pulled a Star Wars on them, made the prequel second, and it was it was a really fun one, and it was dope because I was able to really like illustrate the opposite effect of what I wanted on the other side, and it was this kind of almost like tense feeling of like we're arriving and like you don't know what's going to happen type shit on the left side. It's kind of almost the vibe I get when I'm just looking at it or thinking about it from like a story standpoint. But then like I don't know, it was just one of those things that kind of just fell together, and it was like it was an enjoyable process.
Definitely. Yo, that's fire. I love that. I love that. So do you
Appreciate it.
have another one planned in the series at all? Any
Oh man, I mean, now that you mention it, I don't. But literally, now that you just mentioned it, and I'm thinking about it for like just half a second. I almost feel like there needs to be like because they do create this one full piece themselves, but I almost like could see this like I don't know, one more piece going down, like one more just like one more piece from this universe at least, to like or at least from this like storyline to sum it up, like an ultimate like almost even symmetrical kind of piece would be kind of
definitely.
cool. Damn, yeah, you got me scheming. That's funny.
Yeah, dude, you should do it. That'd be fucking lit. I don't know if you're feeling another dab, but I'm feeling heat and wave.
I'm about it, 100%.
That's good.
I'm dead.
Yo, so I could, as you were describing your storyline for that, I could visualize in my head an animation to go alongside it. Have you ever thought about doing anything graphic related or animated like
That's
that?
hilarious that you say that. I'm sorry I didn't mean to like cut you off with me laughing because I literally was just thinking about that for the first time like 2 nights ago, like straight up. Maybe a night, like might have been last night even. I literally was like sitting there because like I've been getting back into like watching a bunch of anime. I used to watch a bunch of anime with my brother growing up. And I've gotten back into it in the past few years. And it's been dope because me and my brothers actually, like, I don't live with them, but like I'll sit there like Discord, chill with them, and watch like new anime and shit. Like, I even got my mom watching like Attack on Titan and like The Promised Neverland and all this shit. I'm like shedding tears. But yeah, no, I've been realizing how much I enjoy like the side of like coming up with a really damn good story. And I'm like, fuck, like that. I honestly really do like writing. Like if it's something that I enjoy writing about, and I'm like, wow, like animating would almost be the ultimate way of like sharing my art to an extent. I'm like, so yeah, I kind of am. I've been kind of scheming. Like,
yeah.
I've been scheming on a bunch of random shit, but I've got time to do it all. I mean, I just gotta like make sure I stay healthy and shit. But
Definitely, dude. Stay up on the water. You drinking water?
yeah, my hydro flask about fucking emptier than a.
Oh no.
Fucking, I don't even know.
I don't know.
I was gonna say emptier than a camel in a desert, but camels actually always got that water on them.
Yeah, they got them. They got it stocked up. They're always ready to go.
Yeah. Fun fact: I actually had this anthropology teacher. He was also my Zen anthropology teacher. We like meditate in that fucking class in college. It was kind of wild.
Interesting. That's fun though. That's
Isn't that
nice.
wild? Yeah, it was dope. But he would literally he was studying this like camel herding tribe in Africa for like he would live with them for like 2 years, like 10 years ago type shit. He like wrote like a whole book on it and shit. But they would be dehydrated. They would need water, and like it's slightly graphic, but they would literally put a spick in the side of like the camel's like neck, and like their blood was like rich with water. Yeah.
Wow. Crazy. I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do.
You gotta do what you gotta fucking do, man. That shit's crazy. It's just wild. It's like so many different lifestyles going down on this earth. My man's got right though. Camel blood. Couldn't imagine.
Couldn't even imagine doing that. Hey man, you want to drink some camel blood? Not really. You're gonna get dehydrated and die if you don't.
Yeah.
All right, guess we're drinking camel blood tonight.
Literally. And then he said he was teaching this class. Like it was like a really young like elementary school class. I think he was just teaching them English. But for him it's all a study. And yeah, he said there was this anthill, like a massive like 3 foot tall anthill, like outside their classroom. And he said he had never even like seen the ants come out before. And he said one day like there was like a certain time of year where they come out. And the kids knew this. It's like a thing, but the ants apparently taste like chocolate. It's either chocolate or bacon. It was one of the two. But he said as soon as the ants started coming out, all the kids got up out of class and started eating these fucking ants like live, like out of an anthill. And then he said he joined in with them. He was like, "Fuck it, like let's see what's up." Put on his anthem. Good? He said He said it was tasty. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, straight up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he said it was gas. So I'm like, all right.
I believe it. I mean, if the kids if kids are just apt to all go, "Oh my god," and like run to it and fucking eat them, they gotta taste good, bro.
Yeah,
like,
I'd trust it too.
Tasty ants, chocolate ants. What do you know? Chocolate covered ants. That's what. Maybe that's like where the whole, the whole fascination with people doing like the scorpions and popsicles and like the chocolate covered nasty critters
crazy.
and stuff. I don't understand. I never understood that stuff.
That's just too much.
So what, you eat a lollipop until you get halfway through, and then you get a claw of a scorpion. What's that about? I don't want. I just want a lollipop. I don't want a scorpion claw in my lollipop. Sugar ants in Jamaica? What, like ants fried in sugar or something? No, this seems pretty crazy. What's the craziest thing you've ever eaten?
I think I haven't even eaten anything like that crazy. I don't even know. What do I don't know. What have you? What's the craziest thing you've eaten? I like duck, like for things, like for like, like we went on like a bougie Christmas thing one time, like 10 years ago.
Craziest thing I've ever eaten.
So I don't even think it was that wild, but
no, I don't know. I haven't traveled anywhere that like the cuisine's crazy. You know, like
yeah.
I've traveled a couple places, but it's all like very, very normal food. You know.
Yeah, I went to England like when I was like 14, like a soccer tournament, and all they got like fish and chips and shit and like chicken, but I wasn't really eating the fish, honestly.
Yeah, I went to Costa Rica when I was a kid as well, and they have best chicken and rice and beans that you've ever had in your life, bro. It's like if you ever go to Costa Rica, if you're about the chicken and beans and rice, like if you're about that. Just like fresh, just like so good and just like perfectly done, you know. That's like their staple meal. You go anywhere, you can get chicken, rice, beans, and plantains.
Oh man, yeah, that sounds dumb gas.
So good, so good. I could eat Costa Rica for the rest of my life.
I feel you.
I had pork intestines in Greece.
Okay, yeah, I feel like I've had like some intestines before, honestly, or like some like shit like that before.
Cow's balls.
At some point.
Doesn't really count.
Whew. Cowboy.
Rocky Mountain oysters, as they call them.
You can eat like I think you can eat like tiger peen, like in like I don't even know where it was, like China maybe or something.
Tigers are nice, and
it was somewhere. It was some like I think it wasn't even there. It was like some random country.
Yeah. I believe it.
Watched like a National Geographic thing about it one time. I was like, God damn, you had to pay like $2,000.
See, that's like I don't understand.
In a back alley, basically. Not even a back alley, but it was like a back like spot of the restaurant.
Yeah, tiger cock. I don't understand this. This does not make sense to me. But
you know, those are one of the craziest things I've ever heard.
I think that is probably the craziest thing I've ever heard as well.
Yeah, that'd be wild if someone just like just whipped that out, like.
They're like, look at this, it's a tiger penis. You're like, why do you have a tiger penis?
Yeah, or they were just casually like, yeah, I've eaten tiger penis. Like, what? I'd be like, you're fucking sus.
Yeah, right? Someone comes to the session like, hey, do you have a frying pan and some butter? I got a fresh tiger penis right here. You're like, what the fuck? Carl, why, Carl?
Yeah, the homie says, let me bring a friend, and like that's who pulls up. That shit's really how it is.
Oh, that's funny. That's true. All right, I got another question for you here. This is the staple question of the Cheers Yo podcast. What's the highest thing you've ever done?
Oh my god. Like the highest thing I've ever done, or like the highest I've ever been, because
no, the highest. We can do this separately. but first, let's start with the highest you've ever been. Let's start with that.
Okay, because I almost can't even think of what like the highest thing I've ever done would be. Honestly, like fuck, like besides like taking the wrong turn on like a road trip or something and going down the wrong road for like 20 minutes or some dumb shit like that.
That's pretty. I mean, but.
Okay, well, the highest I've ever been though is just a decent story. It's fucking. I've always loved taking fat snaps of weed, just fat bowl rips. I was always like known as like the guy to take fat bowl rips in high school. Like people would always like try and get me to like take the fattest snaps possible. I would never turn it down. And this one time, I wish I still had the video, cause like I wish I could describe like how yellow it was accurately, because it literally was like a fucking school bus. But my buddy had this like really cheap like clear tube, straight clear tube. It's like 1.5 feet tall. Had like no perk action really, so it was like it wasn't much like filtration. So I was just getting like a lot of fucking smoke. But we weighed out on a scale of gram, and my buddies were all gassing me up to snap it all, and I was like, say less, like I'm doing it. And I went in heavy. I went in swinging, torched the bowl, just going in, just ripping it. I knew I was gonna be able to clear it off the fucking rip, because I just went in screaming. But it was literally like as yellow as this. Like, not even kidding. Like, it was like so stanky. Like, I literally feel like I inhaled a cumulonimbus sized cloud of smoke. It was fucked. As soon as I took it and exhaled, I knew I was fucked. I didn't like I didn't throw up or anything. I didn't even like I coughed pretty bad, but I instantly was like just ripped. And the fucked part was I had to go back to fourth period.
No.
That's when the story gets mildly interesting because at
No.
this point, this is third period. I'm skipping. I'm like a junior or like a senior. I am so stoned, but I wasn't. I missed like one more class or one more like day in this class, or if I was like even tardy, I think I was like fucked. Like I would get like a lower like grade. And this was like this is her name was Mrs. Huffman. It was a sculpting class, like a ceramics class.
Mhm.
And I was like, fuck, I have to go. Like I knew it. I got in my car. I'm like ripped. I don't advise driving that ripped, but I was ripped. School was right there. My buddy's house was literally right next to the school, so it was the easiest drive. But I walk into the fucking school, and like I'm looking down at my arms, and I'm like, I look green. I'm like dead ass. I look green on my life, like, and I'm like, I'm just stoned, and I'm thinking that, like, I don't really look green. And so I trek all the way to the class, which is like literally on the opposite side of school. And I'm high as fuck, and I'm trying to get there on time. I'm trying not to be fucking late. And I walk in, like, last person in there. Like, I feel like the bell had rung, like, literally, like, 45 seconds before that. But you're, like, Gucci as long as I feel like you're in there, like, before the door closes. Which I was. And so I walk in. I'm Gucci because I'm there. But I could tell by, like, okay, so I didn't, like, know anyone in this class, really. Except for, like, there was a few people that were friends with, like, my younger brother that I knew. And they were all like pretty preppy, like definitely like they were mostly girls, and like they knew I smoked, but like I came in high as a like literal kite, and I could see off the reflection of their faces that they could see that I was high as a kite, and like I sat down and I'm like so stoned. I'm not even like kidding. I like immediately was like, God, I wish I wasn't here. Like I literally was like, I would take the L, like honestly. But I was already locked and loaded. I was in there.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
everybody
yeah.
like already looked at me as I walked in. Like everyone was like looking at my stoned ass. I'm sure, but it gets better because I'm sitting there. We're having to sculpt, and I'm like, lay low, just play it off. You're chilling. I'm like shaky stoned, like uncomfortably high, like clinging on to existence at this point. Like I was like, why the fuck did I do this? Like why did I do this? And so I'm trying to sculpt, act normal. The girls next to me, like I sit on the far corner, and they're literally like all looking at me, like all like I could feel them looking at me. And I look up, and they're all like sus as like literally like, "Are you okay?" type shit. And they literally asked me, they're like, "Yo, are you all right?" One of them literally asked me, "You look green right now." I literally was like, "Oh my god, they can see it." I was like, I am. I was like, I literally greened out. I literally was greened out in fucking school type shit. And at this point, I'm like, oh my god, like this is like red alert, red alert. Like I'm way too high. Everyone knows I'm high. My teacher, Mrs. Huffman, like it's a quiet, like it's pretty quiet when everyone's fucking like whipping up art. So like it was like almost obvious. Like Miss Huffman immediately came over as soon as like they asked if I was all right. Miss Huffman was like in my face. It was like, oh my gosh, Josh, like you look so bad. Are you okay? Like I'm like sitting there, like she has the highest pitched voice, like it's like tripping me out. I'm just like, oh my god, like this is literal hell. Like I was
It's
like,
like just
I'm
like super
fine.
trippy to you, just like blaring in your face. You're like,
Yeah,
what's
literally
going
like
on?
higher than I've ever been off of weed. Like I'm literally like psychedelic like high basically at this point. Like I'd done mushrooms before, like once or twice. And I'm like a senior at this point. So like I knew like I could handle my shit well, but I was still like, holy fucking fuck, this sucks. And so Miss Huffman's like asking me if I'm about to throw up. She's like, are you gonna be sick? Like, and I could do like a public school, so like I could give like there. I knew they were gonna like do shit like really about me. Like I could really care less about that aspect. But like she was literally just like so on my shit. I literally was like wanting to yak so bad. So I was like, all right, bet. I'm hitting the bathroom. Couldn't yak. Like so stoned. I look in the mirror and I'm literally like green as all get out. Like, and then I'm like sitting there. I'm like, damn. Like the worst part is like I had to go back in there. Like wanted to just leave so bad, but my backpack was in there. I was just like,
Oh
well, I was like,
no.
because usually I would just not give a fuck so much. Like, I had like a good GPA at that point. Like, I had like a 4.0, and I was just like, I was like, I can miss this and not even like really be affected too much by it. So I was like, really just try to dip, but I was like, I can't because my shit's in there. So I was like, well, I got to go back in. And I just had to write out this like hour and a half long class, like with everyone just like I mean, like thinking about the yak everywhere, but I'm literally just like blazed as all get out. Like, and my homies hit me up afterwards, and they're all geeking their asses off. We all like meet at the parking deck, and like they're all like waiting for me at our usual spot, and they're like, "Yo, you're alive! Like you made it!" I'm literally like fucking like laughing my ass off. Like you guys are some assholes. Like, but I like it was all me though. Honestly, like I full sent it. I was trying to flex on the boys
Yeah,
with a fat snap.
yep.
I
That's funny
signed
as
my
fuck, yo.
I signed my contract. I fucked myself, but it was yeah. It ended up being fine, but it was like the longest class of my life, and I've never been more high in a public situation ever, like times two.
Yeah. Oh
Like,
man, that would just be a terrible public situation to be high in too. Just that to be that extremely high. Oh,
yeah, I've never been
I
that high in
couldn't
school,
imagine.
like ever.
I couldn't
Like
imagine, yo.
it was a fold. It was like I took that rip right before I had to go to class too. It was like 10 minutes before, and I was like, all right, like here we go. Like
Right before.
I thought I could handle it. I was being such a bastard about it. I was like, "Oh yeah, like I'm a juggernaut. I'll be fucking fine." Like, nope, nope.
No, that's a lot. That's
Played
intense.
myself.
That's
Yeah.
funny as fuck though, yo. That was a good story. So back to the other question though.
I just don't.
Nothing in mind that.
Okay, actually, yeah, I did. I did pull some dumb shit one time. This was bad. I forgot about this. Honestly, it wasn't that bad, but I'm sure other people have done it. I've seen other people do it. But I was at a gas pump, and I was getting right. I pumped my shit, and I just like completely like I wasn't even like that stoned. It was literally just me like being like that after stoned, like just fucking blissfully unaware. Was such an idiot. Totally thought I had like taken the pump out, but I literally drove off, and the fucking pump like disconnected, but I didn't even fucking notice it because I was bumping. And I pull out and I'm going around the corner. And I look in my fucking side view mirror, and I'm like, all I see is the handle and like the little whatever the cord, the cable, whatever, just dangling out the back, like. And I literally like had a heart attack. Like I freaked out. It was bad. I feel like that's like got to be like against the law, like times two or something. Like there's got to be like something about that. Like that was pretty fucked.
That's so
But
funny.
they make it disconnect for a reason.
Yeah. Yeah. So it wasn't like broken. It just disconnected, eh?
Disconnected, it popped. Yeah, it does a like there's like a thing at the tip. Like if it gets like enough pressure like applied to it, like it just disconnects.
Pops
Like a
out.
metal like latch type thing.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't know
well.
what really does it. Yeah.
And so you just went and just popped it right back on?
Nah, low key. Yeah. As I noticed it, it ended up flying off, and I was like, okay, like here we go. I was like, it was one of those things where I
I'm
was
sure
like,
they have that
I
happen all
was,
the time. They're
I
like,
was,
whatever.
I was young. I was like probably 16. It was like 10 years ago. I'm not proud of
Yeah.
it whatsoever.
You know, I'm sure that with those disconnects, that's probably what people do most of the time because they're scared that they broke it. You know. Like,
Oh yeah, no, I definitely wouldn't want to come back. I honestly would have been scared to come back with it and be like, hey, like holding it like a
Like, I'm
fucking
sorry,
dead animal
I
or something.
forgot. Yeah, I understand.
What about
I
you?
understand. The highest shit I've ever done.
Yeah.
One time in college, I was extremely blazed. We smoked a fat joint. I took some dabs, and I had a 2 liter or a liter of Dr Pepper and a pint of ice cream. And I'm lactose intolerant, right? So ice cream doesn't sit super well in my stomach a lot of the time. And I was so blazed, and I just ate a ton of it. And I was drinking a lot of Dr Pepper, and it just got the best of me. We were chilling in like the common room, right? And I just fucking, in my head, I'm like, yep, I'm about to puke. And so I just walked to my room. I fucking, to the bathroom, I fucking yak, I fucking brush my teeth. I walk right back to the common room, sit back down, and I was so blazed. I just kept on eating my ice cream, bro.
That's hilarious. Oh my god. You gotta do what you gotta do. Like,
Yeah, I
especially
didn't
lactose
yak after
intolerant.
that again. I was like, all right, I'm not gonna eat quite as much because that was a little bit much. But
I used to have homies that were like so casual about yakking from smoking weed. Like they would be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go yak," and they would just go yak and like come right back. I'm like, I would like, I'd like thankfully never really I've the only time I've yacked like with weed in my system is if like I was drinking too. Like
alcohol
and
makes
then
me
like
puke. Alcohol makes me
yeah,
puke for sure. My stomach and I don't know, it just doesn't handle alcohol very well. If I drink more than like 2 shots, I'll puke.
I totally feel you.
100% of the time, without fail.
100%. 100%
Without
of the
fail. It
time. I
just
feel
happens.
you.
I don't know. I just can't.
I feel
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
Yeah. My grandma has she's has alcohol. She gets alcohol poisoning, not alcohol poisoning, but like something where like she can't drink alcohol. Like she drinks a tiny little bit of alcohol and she gets pretty damn drunk, or
Mhm.
like whatever. And so I'm like maybe like where her body doesn't really handle it very well. I'm like maybe that's somewhat similar, but
Yeah, a little
I don't know, I
something
can
in
drink
there.
sometimes, but not other times. So yeah,
I feel you.
yeah.
I've got like a buddy or two that's like kind of like that. My stomach's definitely like, especially if I don't like, if I haven't like drinking a bit, like my stomach's definitely like not like
Mm-hmm.
gonna handle it easily. Like
Definitely.
it's definitely one of those things that like I don't know. I mean, your stomach like gets used to over time, and I feel like as soon as I don't know. I used to drink a little bit in college, like just because I lived in like a super like the town was like it had like 100 breweries like right like within like Asheville and like the surrounding area. And I think it was like over 100 breweries. And they were most of them were like dumb fire. Maybe I probably didn't even hit, but like probably a quarter of them. But it was a good time. I used to drink, but I'm not big on it anymore
The
at
weed's where
all.
it's at. It's where it's at. Yo,
Yeah,
so
I've always been a fan.
before we take the last dab here, do you have anything that you're working on right now? Any
Uh,
pieces?
this tiger piece right here, I'm pretty stoked on, and this elephant piece too.
Those pieces are fucking nuts, yo. How big is that tiger piece? What's
I can
that?
pick it up and like
Yeah, dude.
show you real
Fuck
quick.
yeah. It's a chunky one.
It's like 3 by 4 feet. Oh man, the light is like trash right now.
Fire though.
Or if I could like, I could probably hit a little some of this.
Oh
With
yeah.
a little some of that.
Nice. That's so fire.
Maybe.
Ooh yeah.
My webcam's not the fucking sauciest.
Nah, we can tell it's fire as fuck though. Yeah.
Look at this elephant giant. That's another big one. I think they're like around the same
It's a
size.
big boy. Yep. Nice. Oh, I love the tusks. I didn't even realize that with it up on the wall. The tusks are trees. That's so lit. Oh, that's fire. Yo, so fire. I love that. Those are fire as fuck, yo.
Appreciate it.
I couldn't tell at first that the tusks were tree trunks when it was just
Branches?
behind on the wall. Oh, dude, that fucking is so lit. That is so fire. Seriously.
Appreciate it.
Yo, and the eyes on it all too. Yo, it's good that you started with the eyes because they're fire as fuck, man.
Dude, yeah, I swear if the eyes are off, like it's like the first thing that I feel like anyone notices.
100%.
It's like I feel like it's just like a natural thing. Like humans just like go to the eyes first. On some like I don't even know. It's my instinct shit. So yeah, no. Anytime like I'm starting a piece, it's like pretty much I'm going for the eyes off the rip, making sure they're like as lined up as possible. And honestly, that fucking tiger piece, I spent so long trying to get that face right. It just kept looking wrong, and I almost was about to scratch it and just cover the whole thing up in paint. But I'm really stoked with where it's at this point. The face turned out a lot better than I thought it was going to.
Yo, that piece is seriously insane. So fire.
Appreciate it.
Both of them. All the pieces.
Appreciate it.
I love those. It's great. I always love seeing what everyone's working on. So shit's fire as fuck. Yo, how long have you been working on those pieces for?
Probably like 10 to 15, probably like 15 hours each on each one.
Damn.
I'd say.
Yo.
Yeah, probably like 15-ish hours. Like probably more on the tiger. Honestly, probably like 20 on the tiger at this point, just because that fucking face just like took me. It took me like 2 days of just trying to chip away at the face and like moving the eyes around and being like, okay, these are too high, these are too big, these are too low, like. And then the mouth wasn't. Then I realized that the nose wasn't right, and then the mouth wasn't right. I literally had to change the whole face.
Yo, those eyes are just fucking perfect. You know, it feels so good on the canvas. Just seeing that, where it's so aesthetically pleasing. You know, just seeing it dimensionally right, and with the extra eyes in there too. You know what I'm saying? And it looks nice. It's very
that's
very
the
well
curveball.
done.
Yeah, it's like trying to add those extra eyes and not make them look like they're like kind of like extra or like unnecessary. Try to make them like kind of fit in naturally and make it just like pop even more. Yeah, no, eyes are always like the toughest fucking thing.
Fucking killing it, man. You ready for another dab? The last dab? Let's
100%.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah, dude. I've been talking to people a lot about this recently, but like, I swear the best thing to do if like you're working on a piece and you can blast the torch if you want. I can still hear you.
Sweet.
Are you full blasting the torch right now? It's so quiet.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's crazy. But yeah, no, I've been saying, fucking, oh my god, where was I going with it? God damn it. I just lost my train of thought.
You're saying something about with Peace in Progress.
Yeah, now I'm like looking back at it and it's like breaking my ankles right now. I'm like, God, what was I about to say about you? Fucking tiger. Hold on, it'll come back to me. I was just like looking at that hash for a second. It was like, holy fuck, I'm like blown through this hash. I didn't even look down until right now. I'm like, holy shit. That's why I'm so stoned.
Yeah, I'll take a nice chunky one for this last one here. Spuntilla says he misses you.
Oh, tell him I said what's good. Spuntilla.
Alright, let's go here. Should we do the Mimosa, the Chernobyl, or the Divine Storm?
I'm so hot right now. Mimosa I honestly would go with for sure. Mimosa is one of my favorite strains.
Mimosa it is.
I love like orangey, like lemony, citrusy strains. Oh yeah, it looks nice. It's a nice color. Is that BHO?
Yeah.
Looks nice.
Super, super tasty. Really
looks like some hash.
It does. It's really funny how it looks. It's quite like hash.
I love when BHO is kind of like in a hash.
The consistency. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of diamonds.
Yeah.
This isn't a big enough dam here.
I feel like I go through diamonds like way too fast.
Yeah, I just don't feel like they get me. It's just not. It's not the same.
Yeah. I think like it's a tad harsher too. Like
when you get like that film on your lip too, you know.
Oh yeah, 100%. Oh, here we go. Finally, I heated up way too much.
Ooh.
Oh, I remember what I was gonna say. Fucking finally. One of the best ways to like check a piece, like, I was even talking about it with this like lady who was cutting my hair yesterday. But best thing to do is like step back like as far as you can, like look at the piece like from like a distance, like, or literally like pull out a foam, like in the camera angle. There's like a slightly different like it'll show like a slightly different like zoom from where you're sitting at than like what your eyes will show, because it's like a different shape and shit. So even just looking through your phone's regular camera, you can like spot. I literally pull out my phone sometimes to take like a picture to be like, oh yeah, I'm almost done. But then like I'll look through my phone and be like, oh my fucking god, I didn't see that regularly. But like through my phone, it's like clear as day. Like
crazy.
And like I'll know a piece is done when like from every angle, from like every even like phone angle, stepping back 30 feet, like it all looks like readable, like it looks like tangible, like nothing jumps out. Definitely. Even like turning it upside down, like, type shit. Like we're taking a picture and flipping it, you'll notice shit. Yeah, which is always a help.
Do that, definitely.
Yeah, because there's so many times with every piece where I'm like, this feels off, but I don't know what it is, and then like I'll take a picture, or I'll like look at it from a different angle, flip it upside down, and all of a sudden I'm like, ah, there it is. Like I see it now. Like if you get stuck looking at it from like the same angle for too long, like come blind to shit.
Definitely, yo. Perspective is key.
100%.
100%.
It's funny. That shit goes for even like shit that's not even art. She can go for life. It's funny.
Yeah, you look at anything from a different angle, and sometimes you understand it a whole lot better.
Big facts. It's cliche, but it's true.
No, it is.
It's just
100%
funny.
True.
It's funny how, I don't know, weird lessons like that will pop out, like out of like just art and shit, or just like out of just like the process. I'm just like, wow, this is beautiful, because it's like there's so many like underlying like things that like apply to like all kinds of mediums and all kinds of like even like, I don't know, business shit. Like, because my dad's super businessy, like he owns like a trucking company, and but like we can literally talk about like the same concepts in business though, because they apply exactly the same to like what I'm doing as they do to him. Like even as far, I don't know, it's just dope. It's fun.
Definitely, yeah.
There's so many underlying things like that. Oh my god.
That was a good dab. Good last dab right there. That was a nice one.
Yeah, holy cow. That was like 4 dabs in an hour and a half.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, we were tracking with those dabs.
I'm usually like a dab like at most every like couple hours, like hour and a half, 2 hours. I'm fucking stoned.
Let's go. What are you about to do? You about to watch some anime?
Probably. I'm probably gonna like work for a little bit. I had a friend of mine coming over in like an hour and a half or so. And then my roommates will be home too. Like, might chill and watch some shit, like smoke.
Yeah, what's your favorite anime? Really quick here.
Hunter x Hunter, I'd say.
Hunter. Okay, yeah.
Hunter x Hunter. Have you ever seen it?
I'm not sure if I saw that one. I'm not sure if I've seen that one. I've definitely seen quite a few animes.
You seen Death Note?
Nope. I
just started it recently.
I have been more on the kind of like lighthearted ones.
I feel you. A lot of them are dark.
Yeah, definitely. Although speaking of, I have watched Attack on Titans, but I haven't watched the new season of it. But Attack on Titans is one of the ones that I've watched that is definitely very dark, but it's just so well done. It's like,
dude, you should watch The Promised Neverland.
The Promised Neverland? Okay.
It's only 12 episodes out right now, and the next season comes out. I literally got like a tattoo for one of the characters in it.
Okay, is that one out on Netflix or Hulu?
Yeah. Watch it subbed though. Don't watch it dubbed because it doesn't like hit the same dubbed. Like I tried watching it with a friend who wanted to watch it dubbed, and like it hit, but like the English voice actors, like it didn't have the same feeling.
I love dubbed though. I love dubbed.
Dude, I'm telling you, if just watch sub for the first episode. I'm telling you,
okay.
It hits. So the dub, just like when I was watching it, it just like takes away from like the feeling that they're trying to provide. Like I can't describe it any better than that. Even like, because when you watch the dub, they actually have the my buddy actually had it turned on to where it was showing the subbed for the Japanese, and it was like speaking in English, and so I could hear what they were saying in dubbed, but I was also reading the subtitles, which were the same as what I was watching, and the connotation's even different. Honestly, like it just comes across differently when it's in English. It's trippy how like just like a few words can make a difference.
I see what you're saying. And yeah, the connotation of sometimes the voice actors on the dub are really lazy, and I feel like they don't like really like research into their lines or like into the episodes. They're like,
we even have emotion really, like,
yeah, exactly. So it's like
it's
like, wait a minute, wait, what did they mean by that? Was that mean or was that happy? I'm really not sure.
No, for real. There's a lot of that.
What you're saying. Okay.
It's like almost like monotone. Like they're too flat most of the times. You can't even read them. Like the Japanese, it's the nice part. Like with their tone, it's so much more passionate that you can read how they feel while you're also reading it at the same time. Like you get a much more of like a holy fuck. Okay, like
100%.
You'll see what I mean though. If you watch the first episode, you'll be like, oh, okay. Like
I'll have to check it out, yo. I'll have to check it out 100%. Yo, have you seen? There's this show on Netflix called Mystic Pop-Up Shop. It's not an anime, but it's pretty damn good.
What is it?
It's like a Korean show, and it's subbed, but it's about this lady who basically gets. I don't know if I can. I
explain too much without spoiling it.
Hard not give it away. You might have to watch the first episode. It's really good.
I feel you.
Sure. Definitely a good one.
Say it one more time. Mystic
Pop-Up Shop. It's on
Mystic
Netflix.
Pop-Up Shop. Interesting.
Yep, it's on Netflix.
Cool.
And it's a Korean one. That's a really good one. I really like how they're very expressive when they're talking and stuff, and like it's really cool seeing the different mannerisms and stuff.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Have you seen Your Name?
No, what's that one?
That's a really good movie. It's only like an hour and a half long.
Okay.
It's beautiful. Like it's kind of like a psychedelic kind of romance. I'm not like big on like romance movies really, but it's just beautifully written. Like I was shedding tears, like big tears.
Oh, okay. Your Name?
Yeah, Your Name. I can if you want to watch it, I actually own it on YouTube. Like it was like $14 or $15 for like the HD whatever, but like I own it for like I got like the rights to it for like good on YouTube. So you can just like sign to my account, you watch it.
Word. Like, okay, word. Oh, I have to check that one out.
It's a vibe.
Yeah.
Like
Word. Crazy.
I listen to the soundtrack like every other day.
What's that one called again?
Your Name.
Your Name. Okay, I'm gonna have to check that out. That's crazy. Okay.
Yeah.
Word. Yo, Josh, thank you so much for being on the podcast. It's been fucking lit. We'll have to have you back on sometime if you're about it.
Yeah, 100%.
In the future, and we'll talk about your current projects at that point and whatnot and everything. Yo, one more time, for everybody that forgot where to find you, that hasn't followed you yet on Instagram, your Instagram is?
It's Coates Art, Coates Art. So Coates with the E between the T and the S.
Boom. All right, y'all. Check out his art. Make sure to drop him a follow on Instagram. Thank you so much, Josh. It's been fucking lit. I am blazed as fuck. Seriously.
I really appreciate you having me out, man. It
was
that
awesome.
Was a good time.
Thank you so much for sharing your experience with artwork and sharing your stories and everything. We really appreciate it, and we really appreciate you so much for all of your artwork. I know I speak on behalf of everyone that sees your artwork. We love seeing it, man. Every single day. Like, seriously. It brings smiles to our faces, and it brings some fucking crazy awe to our minds as well. So thank you for everything that you do, man. Seriously.
I appreciate that, dude.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, let me know. We should set some time.
Definitely, I will set shit for sure.
You're only a couple hours north, so that'd be dope.
Hell yeah. I'll hit you up. Sounds good, man. Have a great rest of the day.
You too.
Soon, yo. Peace, man.